Hi there and welcome to this orientation for Intro to Philosophy. That's Philosophy 100 in the Summer 1 semester at BMCC. And in this course orientation, I'm going to take you through all the main points about the course, about the assignments, about the setup, about how things are organized on Brightspace, and so you'll have everything you need to know. So this is a 6-week asynchronous course. And it being an asynchronous course means that we don't meet at scheduled times during the week. The way it works is I will provide the weekly material, which involves reading material and lectures that are available on Brightspace. And you can work through the material at your own pace during the week. And there are weekly assignments that must be completed every week. So each week from week 1 to week 6, there's a number of assignments that have to be completed that week. So the way it works, it's asynchronous. We're not online necessarily together at the same time. For lectures, you can look at the lectures in your own time. They're uploaded to Brightspace. But there are weekly tasks that must be completed on time every week. And so it's important to stay with the course week by week and make sure that you're keeping up with the material. And so it's not a correspondence course where you do the work in your own time. There are set deadlines, and so the work must be completed on a regular schedule. Okay, so let's take a closer look at how the course is going to be organized in terms of the weeks and the dates. So as I said, it's a 6-week course, and the course runs from Thursday, May the 28th to Tuesday, July the 7th. And the course is organized, those 6 weeks are organized into 3 modules. So for the first 2 weeks, May the 28th to June the 7th, we'll be looking at the module Ethics and the Good Life. From June the 8th to June the 21st, we'll be looking at the Civil Disobedience module. And in the final 2 weeks, June the 22nd to July the 5th, we'll be looking at philosophy and mindfulness. Stoicism and Buddhism is the theories we'll be looking at there. And July the 7th is the final date to submit the final exam. And the final exam, as we'll talk about, will be based on module 3. So each week there's a sub-module, and so in Ethics and the Good Life, it's Human Nature is the first sub-module, and then Ethics Around the World. There are 2 parts to Civil Disobedience, and as we'll see, module 3 is divided up into Stoicism and Buddhism. So there are weekly, the modules are broken up into sort of weekly segments, and there are 6 weekly segments for us to complete throughout the semester. Okay, so after looking at the course orientation, what you should do is take a look at and probably download and make sure you have a copy of the course map and the syllabus. So the syllabus has all the important information about the readings and what's due a particular week. It has information about the assignments and how the different assignments, the weights, and how they'll be graded. So make sure you take a close look at that and work through, and let me know if you have any questions. And the same with the course map, so that the course map gives you the sort of breakdown of when everything is due, every single assignment, and when we'll be sort of moving around from week to week. So if you look at the course map, you'll see it's broken down into weeks, and then you'll see the topic that corresponds to that particular week. And then there are the readings and the lectures. So each week there'll be around 3 or so readings to have a look at, and they'll be posted on Brightspace. And there are video lectures, short video lectures accompanying each of those readings to take a look at as well. And then the weekly assignments and tasks you'll see with the due dates in the course map. So if ever you're not sure about a due date, you're not sure what we're supposed to be doing or when something is due, all you have to do is consult the course map, and it has all the dates for the assignments and the exams and everything else in the course. So if you want my information, my phone number and my email, that's all on the syllabus, as well as my office hours, which I'll talk about a little later in this orientation. Okay, so the weekly course content. The weekly course content is made up of the readings, which are in Brightspace, and they are always in PDF format, and the video lectures which accompany the readings. So here you'll see there's a reading, Plato's Gyges Ring, and then directly under it there's the video that corresponds to that reading. So have a look at the reading, do your best to work out what's happening, and to sort of get a sense of what the dialogue is about and what's excuse me, the theme and the substance and what's being discussed. And then take a look at the accompanying video to help orient you for the questions that week. So my advice would be to spend the first part of the week reading the course text and watching the lectures. So usually there are no assignments due from Monday to Wednesday, so that stretch of the week is the perfect time to absorb the readings, watch the lectures, and look at any supplementary material that's provided, and get yourself ready to be able to deal with the assignments later in the week. So one thing to remember is that when we start the first week of the course, we actually start on a Thursday. So the first week we jump straight into the assignments, and that's going to be the week where we start on May the 28th to May the 31st. So from Thursday, May the 28th to May the 31st, we'll be dealing with the first set of assignments. So it'd be good to get a jump on that and to do the readings and to take a look at the video lectures so that you're prepared by the time we start the course on May the 28th. Okay, so let's drill down a little bit more specifically and take a look at the weekly tasks. So each week, each of the 6 weeks, there'll be a hypothesis markup assignment. Hypothesis is the name of the software, so they are a markup or annotation assignments where we mark up a text together. A discussion assignment, which is like a discussion board type assignment, and we'll do one of those every week, and that'll be worth 10%. And a voice thread task where you upload a voice file, so you'll record yourself, you'll record your voice answering a question, and you'll upload that, and those assignments are worth 15%, and we'll do one of those every week as well. And finally, the quizzes, which are due at the end of the week, they're also worth 15%, and they are always sort of multiple choice, true false type questions. So the other 45% is the 3 exams that I'll talk about a little later. So the hypothesis, the discussion assignment, and the voice thread task are what I consider to be the classroom part of the course. So this is where it's important for all of us to be present on a weekly basis, to do the assignments on time so that we stay with the rhythm of the course, so that we can get the maximum benefit out of the course, and most importantly, so that we can learn from each other. So it's important to, it's really important in the course to observe the dates and when things are due, so that we can have that kind of classroom experience in the course where we're learning from other people, we're seeing what other people are doing and posting, and we're posting in response. And that only happens if we keep up with the weekly assignments. So I'll go through the due dates a little when I go through the assignments directly in a second, but that's the most important thing to keep up to date with the assignments on a weekly basis. Late assignments will receive a maximum of half credit because they they don't carry the same weight in terms of learning if they're posted late. And it's like sort of speaking into an empty classroom. So that they'll receive a maximum of half credit if the assignments are posted after the due date. Okay, so let's talk more specifically about each of the weekly assignments. So the markup assignment is an annotation or a markup assignment where we will be marking up a text together. This means highlighting passages and commenting on them. So you're required to do three things. You're required to post a comment about a section of the reading. So you'll highlight a section of the reading and then you'll write a comment about it. So your comment could be, this is interesting, this reminds me of something, and talk about the sort of connection that you're making with it. It could be that you're confused about something, and so you'll talk about your confusion. Why is this word being used? Wouldn't it be more appropriate to use a different word? So that's what you're doing in your comment. In the second annotation you'll ask a question about a part of the reading. So here again, you'll highlight a piece of the text. It could be a word, it could be a sentence, and you'll ask a question about it. So what is it that you're thinking when you're reading this part? That's sort of what is it that's sort of that is it something where you want to know more? Is it something where again you're confused and you want to ask a question about it? So that's the second part. And the third part is to respond to a classmate's comment or question. So as long as your response is more than I agree or I disagree, and you spell out your thinking, that's all you need to do in the markup assignment. So to do those three things. Now it's important that in the markup assignment, it's a kind of exploratory assignment where we are trying to make sense of the text together. So you're not writing an essay, or you're not attempting to prove that you've understood everything. And I'm certainly not looking for any AI summaries of the text here. All of the comments are supposed to be exploratory, and they should be intended to help us make sense of the text together. So as long as we sort of stick to that format and we keep it in that kind of exploratory key, then you'll be doing well on the hypothesis markup assignment. All right, in the discussion post, your task is to post your thoughts in the discussion forum, and I will provide the written prompt or question for you to respond to. And there are two specific tasks. So you have to write a post in response to the question or prompt, and posts must be 100 words or more. And secondly, you must respond substantively to a classmate's post. So substantively means more than saying I agree or I disagree, but laying out your reasoning and your thinking for why you're responding as you are. And discussion posts are due on the Saturday, so they'll be due on the Saturday of the week. Markup assignments will be due on the Thursday, so that's the first thing due. So again, as with the markup assignments, discussion posts must be in your own words, not AI generated. They must reflect your own struggle with the material and sort of exhibit an original take on the question. So I want to see your thinking and your reflection on the question based on how you're thinking about the reading and the material. Okay, so for the VoiceThread assignment, your task is to upload a voice response to the VoiceThread video prompt. So I will provide the video prompt, and in response to the prompt, you'll do two distinct tasks. Firstly, you'll respond to the prompt with a voice message. And in the voice message, make sure you explain your ideas fully. A couple of minutes is fine for the voice thread. You can expand and talk more if you want to do that. But as long as you spend, say, a couple of minutes or so just talking about what you thought of the question and the prompt and your response to the prompt, you'll be doing well on the task. And the second is to respond to a classmate's voice message. And here your response can be you can either do another voice message, or in this case, you can do a text. So you can respond to a classmate's voice message via text if you prefer. And the voice thread tasks are due on Friday of the week. So the markups are usually due on Thursday, the voice threads are due on Friday, and the discussion post is due on Saturday. The only time that is not the case is the last week of the course, where we have July the 4th on a Saturday. So I moved the discussion post to Friday. So there are no assignments due on July the 4th, and we'll just work around that in the last week of the course. All right, the quiz will consist of 10 mostly multiple choice questions. There may be some fill in the blank or true and false questions as well. And the quiz is based on the readings and lectures for that particular week. It's due on Sunday, which is the end of the week in this course. So it's the last thing that you'll complete in the week. Usually once you've completed the readings and the lectures, and then you've completed the assignments, you'll be in a good place to tackle the quiz. So you usually have 30 minutes to answer the 10 questions or so, and they'll be mostly multiple choice. Okay, so at the end of each 2-week module, there's an exam to test your knowledge of what you've learned in that module. And the exams require essay-type responses. So they're 2-hour timed exams that will be completed online, and we'll complete them on Brightspace. And the final exam will be the third exam, the third of the exams that will focus on the final module in the course. So it's not, I'm not expecting essay formatting or the kind of essay organization, but just explaining your ideas as fully and completely as you can. It doesn't have to be as well structured and thought out as a take-home essay, because it's a sort of timed exam, of course. Like I said, as long as you explain yourself clearly and your thoughts are laid out, that's all that matters. So the exams will be 15% each, so 45% in total for the 3 exams. They must be completed in one sitting. Sometimes they might be 1 question or 2 questions, but there'll be 2-hour timed exams that must be completed. So once you've started, you have to complete it in 1 sitting. Okay, so I'll have office hours every week on Zoom from 4 to 5:30 on Wednesday and Friday. So if you want to check in during those times, you're welcome to drop by. If you want to come at a specific time, let me know by email what time you're coming. The Zoom link I will put on Brightspace, so you'll see it there. But if you email me and you say you want to meet in office hours, I'll send it to you by email as well, and we'll set up a time to meet. But so these are the regular office hours times. If you can't meet those times, we can arrange a different time during the week for us to meet as well. Okay, so my email and phone are on Brightspace. You can reach out at any time if you have any questions about the course, or if you just want to talk philosophy and you want to know more about philosophy or the philosophy program here at BMCC. And I'm the coordinator for the philosophy major at BMCC. So I'll be able to help you with anything philosophy related, I hope. So finally, good luck. I hope this is a rewarding and satisfying semester for you with this course. And as I said, reach out if you need anything by phone or email. And I look forward to seeing you online once we get started.